the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
Good evening there, and welcome to this very, very special edition of the Elite FPL. Of course, it's the day you've all been waiting for. It is the Elite FPL Champions League draw. It is the brainchild of the Daily Llama. He joins us live, of course, along with my co-host, Jason. Good evening, lads.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
How are you?
Let's just get everything from last night out the way. I posted a very sweary private members video to basically our Playmaker members about an hour ago now. Yeah, I did, Jason.
I can't wait to watch that.
And basically just extraordinary, and to keep it PG, all I can say is that Leicester, you screwed up big time. I just think it's absolutely disgusting that you lost 4-0 to Liverpool. Losing to Liverpool, I fully appreciate, but the fact that you lost in such circumstances, I think, is absolutely disgusting. And seeing what I saw, Trent Alexander-Arnold, what was it? 1 goal and 2 or 3 assists?
3 assists.
Was it 3 assists?
3 assists.
It was 3 assists.
It's just laughable. Of course, congratulations to Juggernauts. He predicted 4-1. But more importantly, he predicted 4-0 to Man United. He captained Martial. He's storming the Kashmir League. And that's all we want to talk about. Let's get on with this Champions League, because a lot of hard work and effort has been put in by not only Daily Llama, whose brainchild this is, but Jason as well. I'm basically just going to be sitting back, relaxing.
Can talk amongst yourselves. I've actually just realised that I need to put all the balls into the actual machine. So just give me a moment.
I actually thought that. I thought it looks very nice, the camera shot that Jason's put up there of all the balls and everything all neatly laid out. And I thought, does actually realise that he has to draw these out at the end, doesn't he?
Llama, do you want to, in all seriousness, do you want to tell us about how this came about and basically the rules for anybody watching this?
Right. So, so this spanned out about 2.5, 3 months ago now. I was sitting one morning having the mocha gappage with Buna, and I came up with this idea: why do we not have an Elite Champions League? People had been asking that had joined our Discord slightly later, so couldn't enter some of the other leagues. And I thought, let's try and get them involved in something else. So it was open to all our Discord members. And then I thought, let's try and take it a step further. Let's see if we can actually get some of our so-called celebs people that are influential on Twitter with regards to FPL, people that do podcasts on FPL, and then creators, content creators, and just try and unite, I suppose, our FPL industry. And that's kind of what happened. So we then got together as a moderation group. The guys that are involved in that helped me massively, so a big thank you to them. They went out, we got 19 celebs took up the offer within a space of about 2 to 3 days. And then, yeah, we had 61 member spots for our Discord people. They all got themselves involved, and here we are today, ready to draw us into groups.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can see on my mobile, for everybody watching this, normally I'd have everything in front of me on my TV screen, but it appears that Wi-Fi seems to interrupt everything I seem to do with the screen that you see me on. So I'd rather not risk myself going into, as you all know, a little tiny little smidgen, and I'm just watching to my left-hand side.
Everyone loves a wee Steve-O, don't you? Yeah.
So Jason, you put the balls in, mate?
Yeah, I've noticed he's put every single ball in, though. I think we only needed number 1 to 61, but it's all right. We'll wing it.
No, that was 1 to 61.
Oh, was it? All right.
Yeah, that was. Yeah,
poured them all in.
No, there was 61. I've counted 61 balls. That's why they were in the tray there. There's 61 balls there.
Superstar.
Yeah.
So basically, just to give you the order of play, so just so everyone's aware that's
I'm going to bring up on the screen. I'll bring it up on the screen now. So these are the numbers on the screen. 1 to 61. You can see here. So we're going to draw these very shortly now. These are all the team names, and they're going to be... Well, you go ahead and explain it, Llama.
Yeah, so basically what we did then, Jason, is we split everyone into groups as first seeds. So that's the two of you sat there back in the studio. I'm live in Brussels at the moment. Just had a quick chat with Seb Blatter there. He's passing envelopes about. I think it's Aman Dillon's trying to get in a group with Buna, so maybe that's the brown envelope that he's just passed. So we've got us all representing as first seeds. So we're the ones that are in green when you see the tables. Our celebrities or influencers, whatever we wish to call them, I know Steve-O's got a few other names, they're all the ones that are in a kind of orangey amber type colour. Yeah. The balls that Jason's just put in are all our white teams, which is all our Discord members, so that's balls number 1 to 61. And basically now what we're going to do is draw in all our Discord members into each of the groups. So to keep it nice and simple, we're obviously going to start at the very start, which is Group A. And within Group A, there are 3 Discord members' names that are going to get drawn out. I have written their Discord names if they haven't already changed them. We've got their team names if they haven't already changed their FPL team name. So really, I think if you want to really know who you're playing, it's to look at their manager name, because that's the only thing you can't change on FPL or within Discord. But if everyone's kept their own team names and stuff, then we should be all right. But essentially, we're good to go. We're live here in Brussels. They've just started recording over here. So we look forward to seeing the first 3 balls, Jason, get drawn out.
Right, okay, the first 3 balls to be drawn.
Now, for me, this is very, very exciting. I'm going to be writing everything down in a book. The famous book, Llama.
First ball.
Here we go.
Don't know if you guys can see this. Number 36.
So number 36, that's One Life Soccer TV. So
really?
Yeah, so One Life Soccer TV is number 36, and they are the first team that's going to go into Group A. Group A is headed up at the moment by FPL Anderson. That's our seed for that. So
ball number 2. Ball number 2. 47.
So number 47, that is Polly FPL. So team name Peaky Blinders. So 47 is going in alongside FPL Anderson there. Emmanuel.
Not nice to see some regular names popping up already.
Yeah. Ball number 3 is 15.
Number 15. FPL Penguin himself. So
Hey!
FPL Penguin is getting drawn straight in there to Group A. And to be honest, that concludes your Group A. So far in Group A, you've got FPL Anderson, you've got Emmanuel, you've got Paul, and FPL Penguin.
I'm also writing this
all
down as
sat
well.
there.
It's all being written
Yeah,
down.
if you're okay, Jason, that's much appreciated because we know what I'm like with technology, so things could go awry.
No
So
worries.
that's Group A. So Group A's already been done and dusted. So straight away we can kind of swiftly move on to Group B, which is my group. And within my group, Jason, I need you to draw out four balls, please.
4 balls for Group B.
4 balls for Group B, please.
Right, let me just
Thank
move
you.
it over so you guys can see it on here. Group B will be on the screen now. Daily Llama's group. There we go.
I just want to say, every time I hear FPL Penguin's name, I just want to sing his song. I'm a hurricane, don't want to
should change that.
way.
I could just change that for today's video.
Right, ball for number 1 in Group B is number 22.
So joining me is that lost guy.
Right.
So that lost guy is joining me in Group B.
Second ball is number 4.
That's Nish. Oh, great. I've got Nish in my group. Thanks for that. Who rigged this?
There we go.
So Nish joins the Daily Llama. So 2 more to go, Jason, for Group B, please.
Third ball, number 28.
28. This is Stas.
Stas?
Stalovsky. So Stas, yeah. I'm hoping, Steve, you'll notice a lot of these names.
Oh, I do, yes. I absolutely recognise every single one so far.
So we're looking for one more name to join me in Group B. Thank you, Jason.
Number 48.
So number 48. Hey, it's Steve-O's pal, Jane. So Jane is joining me. Jane is joining me in Group B. So just to summarise Group B then, we've got, this is obviously the group that I'm in. We've got Rafael Ali with Giant Killing as his team name. We've then got Nish, our very own Nish. We've then got Stas in there, and then Steve-O's pal Jane joining us in Group B. So thank you very much for that, Jason. We're now moving swiftly into... Now, this is interesting. This is actually Steve-O's group. So this is Group C.
Here we go.
And again, with Group C, Jason, I need 4 names out the hat, please, if you don't mind.
Don't worry, whoever's going to be joining there is going to beat me.
First name to be in Group C is number 57.
This is a buy.
Oh, 57. Tower Ezra. Boona's going to love this because he loves how I pronounce stuff wrong. Tow's Era.
Tauzera.
Yeah.
How are you spelling that?
Tauzera, basically.
Yeah,
I get that. How do you spell-
Towzera. Tauzera. There we go. Second name to be drawn into Group C is number 58.
Oh, keeping it down the bottom end. This is FPL Jason. A different FPL Jason.
Oh, really?
A different FPL Jason. All right, okay.
So some of the people...
Jayson.
Yeah,
Jason Drack.
Jason Drack, that's correct.
There we go.
Team name Blade.
This
is
Group C, isn't it? Yeah.
It is Group C, yeah, Jace. So we've got another 2 more names to draw out, please.
Guys, you need to remind me to switch it over because they're still on Group B at the moment for the people watching at home.
Ah, sorry. Yep.
Yeah,
I shall remind you kindly.
Yeah, there you go. So Group C's in front of you now. Blade, Jason Drack, for that. So we'll go on to the Team 5.
Yep, Team 5 for Group C.
And that is 41.
41. Oh, Jace, Steve-O, you've got FPL hot sauce in your group.
Hey!
Hey.
Going in there.
Lee Osborne, FPL Hot Sauce, congratulations.
So he's drawn in alongside. So just one more to go, Jason, please, for group number C.
And that is lucky number 7.
Number 7. So this is Ryan. You know, so Ryan's Sheechorn.
Seachorn, yes,
Ryan
yes.
Seachorn, yeah.
Oh, a couple of good
brilliant.
belt. Oh, hey, tell you what, Steve, you've got a couple of belting head-to-heads in your group. So
Yeah.
that concludes Group C. So Steve-O's group, and he's got a lot. Well, you've got a couple of belters in there, Hot Sauce and Ryan, and alongside you, Steve-O.
I think I'm ahead of FPL Hot Sauce in the Cash Mini League. I'm not sure on that, but I think I may be. But I know Ryan is ahead of me in our Cash Mini League.
It's
So
good
now
to
it's-
see you've got your smile back, Steve-O. We're missing that there. For
Well,
a
it's the
second.
only thing I can take seriously because the Cash Mini League's gone up in smoke. But we'll come to that afterwards.
No problem. So moving swiftly on, Jason, you've already done it. So you're moving on to Group D now, and as you can see, Jason, we've got four names required in Group D. This one's headed up by your Australian colleague Brett. Is it Brett? Yeah, Brett Mollison.
Brett Mollison.
First name out of the hat is number 24.
24. So he's got Zach Obrat in his group.
Excellent. Second name. Number 46.
So number 46. This is Otter Close.
Ah, autoclose, right.
Otter Close is in there.
Auto reclosed, Mr. Malloy.
It is. Two more to go, Jace.
2 more, thank you. Number 42.
Number 42. This is Alpine FPL.
Alpine FPL, supporter of the show for quite some time, donated his winnings from the Tap Tap Sport game to our channel. So yes, Alpine.
Thank you very much for that, Alpine. And you're in alongside a couple of decent FPL players in there in Group D.
But here he
One
is
more-
now.
One more to go, Jason, to finish off this group. Thanks.
Number 23.
Number 23. So this is Oscar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ah,
So that concludes Group D. Let me just pop his name into Group D for us.
Brilliant.
So that concludes Group D. So Brett Mollison's alongside Zach Obrat, Mr. Malloy, Alpine FPL, and Oscar. Colin, is it? No, Oscar. We'll just call him Oscar. Right, we're now moving into Phil Potter's group. So this is Group E.
oh, fantastic.
Jason, if you're able to, thank you very much.
Of course.
And in this group, we only need 3 balls drawn, please. So just 3 names for Group E. Phil will be sitting there itching to find out who he's against.
First name, number 52.
52, Chelsea Flyer.
Oh, he's in
Straight
chat at
out.
the moment.
He
He
should
said-
be in chat.
He said he's going to win this. Very confident.
Well, he's up against our Phil as the first one to be drawn out. So 2 more to go for Phil in this group.
Number 25.
Number 25. So this is Hicks76, another popular member in the Discord. So Phil's at this. Is this going to be the first major kind of group of death? So Phil Potter's in there alongside Chelsea Flyer and Chris Easton with Kelly's Heroes.
Is it one more?
One more to go.
Yeah. Number 61.
Oh, this is Tobias, the last person
here he
to
is.
join. So
And
Tobias was the last person to join the Champions League this year. And I would, no offence to anyone else, but that's looking like the first kind of group of death there's certainly going to be a lot of banter flowing around in Discord with A4 in the same group.
Wow.
So no, that's your group E decided. So now we move on to the hostess with the mostess. This is Jason's group. So Jason, if you want to slide yourself over to group F, please, just so that the people can see us live on screen.
Come on.
So Jason, who is the usual suspect, he is the usual suspect, but he doesn't take unusual hits. He takes bang on -16.
The first name is number 51.
So the first person to join you, oh wow, this could be a group of death straight away. So he's playing Keyboy 1888.
Oh.
So Keyboy 1888 goes straight in up against our Jason.
Come on, Keyboy. Right, second name. Number 60.
Oh. Oh, gee, this is now a group of death. Steve-O, if you weren't smiling before, you're going to be smiling now. Marlon Moore is now joining the group alongside Jason. So this is Group F is becoming a very, very tasty group indeed. Marlon Moore and Keyboy in there alongside Jason.
Keyboy or Marlon Moore can take a hit, so...
two more to draw out for Group F, please, Jace.
Number 17.
Number 17. Oh, if it couldn't get any better for Jason, our very own John Harris now joins the
winner of the last year's FPL. Who
won last year? Won our mini league last year.
Oh my God!
Elite.
Rigged. This is rigged.
Hey, Jason. All I'm going to say is, when the Amazon delivery driver was delivering it, I said, make sure the balls are weighted a little bit for this Group F, if you don't mind.
Last name.
Yeah, the last one to join you in Group F is...
Number 10.
Oh, this is an early one. It's Aman Dillon. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
That is definitely... So if you thought that Group E was a group of death, I think you'll find now that Group F is an absolute belter. So we've got Jason sitting there as the top of the tree, if you like, the first seed. He's alongside Keyboy. He's alongside Double M, Marlon Moore, John Harris, and Amon Dillon. What an absolute cracking Group F this is turning out to be. Group E was decent. Group F is an absolute... Well, put it this way, I think all eyes are going to stop what they're doing to watch these heads-to-heads happen live, Steve. I don't know about you.
Absolutely. I'm just looking at the ranks in our mini-league. We're talking someone that's second place, someone that is in Keyboy. He's down in 20th spot. And Marlon Moore, I know he's doing very well. I can't quite see him at the moment. But yeah, Jason, a very, very tough fixture. And like I said, I don't think any of them even take hits. So it looks like these lot will be absolutely loving life.
So let's not let Jason get his breath back anytime soon, Steve-O. Let's move straight into Group G. We've got 4 names, Jason, that I need you to draw out for this group. Leading this group from the moderators is our very own Andy Resi Desi. So let's see who Resi Desi gets in alongside his team.
Number 32.
So number 32, Resi Desi starts with Pegasian. How do you pronounce that, Steve-O? I'm sure it's
Pegasian.
Pegasian.
There you go. Thanks, lads. It's always good to have you guys on board. Looking for our second name, please.
Number 6.
Number 6. This is our content creator in SMZ. Just joining our very own Resi Desi there. 2 seconds. Yep, that's now been pasted in. Thanking you. So 2 more to draw out for Group G, please, if you don't mind.
Number 50.
Number 50. So this is FPL Maestro.
FPL Maestro.
I tell you what, some of these groups are absolute belting. Whose idea was this? I'm only joking. It's a team game. So one more to draw for this group, please, Jason.
Number 37.
Number 37. This is Abdul. So our very own. So I'm not. Do you know what? That's probably the friendly group. You could have put a nicer bunch of guys together in a group together, but then you never know when head-to-head starts. That's when all the sweary words come out and stuff. So, Jason, I don't know if you want to just move. I know you've not probably moved the screen yet, but that's Group G now filled in. We're moving swiftly into Group H. This is Gotham's group, and I know Gotham. I think, Steve-O, if you correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure he's in the chat.
I'd like to think he is. I'm not really looking at it, to be honest with you. But,
no problem. But yeah,
yes, yes, there he is. Yeah.
So this is Gotham's group. We've got four teams to go get drawn into Group H, just as and when you're ready, Jason.
Number 18.
So the first person to go in is Steve-O's friend from abroad, and this is Statman Kev.
Statman.
Is going straight in up against the Gotham there in Group H.
Second name is number 31.
And also joining him is another one of your friends. This is your very own Simon Bellamy, also known as The Best. And he's getting drawn in that group alongside Kevin and Gotham. Two more to go, Jason, for this group, please.
Number 55.
55, Ashir. I think Ashir, if I'm right in saying, might be a newer member to Discord. And that's what's really good about the Elite FPL and our Elite channel in general, is that we welcome new and old. One more to go, Jason.
Number 39.
So the last person to join is Show Me the Manny. So Wayne has been put up against Gotham there. So I think Gotham was probably sitting rubbing his hands there. In fact, I'm sure he's got a member of his family just sat opposite me here in Brussels, and yep, it's a shake of the head from him there. He's not happy with Show Me the Manny entering Gotham's group, and not in one bit. So just to go through Group H with you then, we've got Gotham sitting there as our top seed. He's up against Statman, Simon Bellamy, Ashir, who's slightly new to Discord and welcome, and then Show Me the Manny right in there at the tail end. Oh, that's going to be another good group there. Gotham thought he had it easy. Nothing easy in this game. You want to win Elite Champions FPL? Look at the people you've got to put down to actually get out your own group first.
That's crazy. I'm not getting out of my group, I'm telling you now. Right.
Oh, Jason, you've said that you're not going to do much this season, and look how you've got on. Right, so Bru's group. So yeah, I don't know. You've probably already done it. If you've not, if you don't mind, please moving us to Group I. So we're now moving into Bru's group, and we need 4 Discord members drawn for this one, please. Just as and when you're ready.
43.
Number 43. So he's got Shano83.
He's there in chat at the moment.
So he's got Shano in there as the first person to join him in his group. Anfield Express.
1 and 1, 11.
Oh, right, as in legs 11. I was like, where is he going with this? Oh, well, hey, I tell you what, Bru's got himself a tough opponent here again. He's got Doreco going in there alongside him. So, couple of belters.
Number 13.
Oh, unlucky for some. Adam France.
Oh.
Adam, I tell you what, there's some really good groups getting put together here. So, yep, that's Adam inside Brew there. A lot inside Brew? That sounds so wrong. And we're not even at a watershed yet. Team 6, the last one for Group I. One more to go, sorry, yeah.
Yep. Number 45.
Number 45, Sydney Hammer. So that's
fantastic.
do you know what? That's another Discord group, that. you know, and I'm not meaning that because a lot of people that are in here are constantly in Discord, but that group is definitely in Discord on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Just to go through Group I again. So you got Brew there as the top seed. He's alongside Shane, Dereco, Adam France, and Jake Bull. Another exciting group there for us to keep an eye on. So we're moving into Group J, as and when you're ready. Now this is Matt's group.
Matt Brunton,
Midget
of
Nick.
course.
Midget
Yes. So yeah, for this group, Jason, Group J is another 4 balls, as and when you're ready, please.
Number 44.
Number 44. So this is KB. So just the initials K and then B. I think KB might be fairly new to Discord, if I remember right. And if I'm wrong, hey, we're all allowed to make mistakes, aren't we?
Kyo Bokel Mogashane, with a team name Poch
Academy.
Poch Academy.
Poch Academy.
Poch Academy, there we go.
Thank you for that, Jason.
Yeah, I know, my pronunciation is great. 12.
Oh, so this will be Stein.
Oh, Stein.
So Stein, long time not here from Stein. He joins Matt in that group there. 2 more to go for Group J.
Number 56.
56. Oh, hey! So FPL Tips
Yeah.
is now joining. He's decided to turn up and join the draw. So well done to FPL Tips there, landing himself in alongside our Matt and Stein.
Number 8.
Number 8, FPL Defender. So that's another. I tell you what, Steve, I don't know what your thoughts are, but the chat must be going absolutely nuts at the moment the way some of these names are getting drawn out.
All I can say is that they are loving your commentary. Really, really enjoying it, and so am I. Very good indeed.
That sums up Group J with Matt sitting there as our first seed. He's in there with Poch Academy, with KB. We've then got our very own Stein. FPL Tips is in there. And then FPL Defender finishing off Group J. Now, this person I know is in the chat, and we're about to move into his group now, which is Group K. This is our very own Boona's group.
Oh, here we go. Yep, he's there.
Boona,
listen out.
Who you getting in your group? So this is Group K, Jason, just for movement-wise. And we need four balls drawn out for this group, as and when you're ready. And this is for FPL Boona, so try and get to those weighted balls, if you don't mind, Jason.
Number 2.
Oh, it will be a weighted ball, and it's Harbour Boy. Harbour Boy is going straight in against Boona as the first one to get drawn out in his group. Oh, I think we're going to set up another group of death here. I can feel it in my blood.
Number 3.
Oh, it certainly is, because that's Patrick FC. Patrick McNally is going in there. 2 seconds, I don't know what I've done. Just about to paste that one in. That's us pasted it in now. 2 more to go for Boona's group.
Number 27.
Now, this is Runner. So this is Hard Counter is his Discord name, or Runner I've put in brackets.
Yes.
Discord member that must change his name every 2 minutes. So he is joining Boona in Group K. So that's him now in the group. We've got 1 more to go for Group K.
Number 35.
Number 35. So this is NZ Ray Joyce.
Ah, yes, he's here as well.
Is inside that same group. I just need to watch what I'm saying. It's pre-Watershed here. But no, that is a very tasty little group for our very own Boona, the Spurs supporter that had a great game week at the weekend there. So well done to him, although I don't pat the guy in the back. But anyway, Boona's there, top seed in that group. He's alongside Harbour Boy, Patrick McNally, Dasha's in there, and our very own Ray Joyce. So that's another tasty looking group getting set up there in Group K. Now we're on to Vince Chapman's group. So Group L. Now, with this group, Jason, I only need 3 balls drawn out to see who's going to be joining Vince in Group L.
Oh, number 19.
Number 19, James Bang.
Oh,
there he
James,
is.
he's there.
He's been sat here for 4 hours. As soon as you posted up that we were going live at 4:30, when that got posted up at 12:30, James Bang was
What time is
straight
it
in
where
the
you are,
chat.
James?
So James Bang, he's well in there. He's got Vince Chapman, but he's got 2 more people joining him from his own community in Discord. Who are they, Jason?
Number 38.
Number 30. Oh, Manchester Reds.
Oh,
This is
nice.
another Discord-orientated
Yeah.
group. Regulars are in here. So Manchester Reds is in alongside James Bang and our very own Vince. And last to get drawn in, Jason.
Number 26.
Stas.
Oh,
I'm sure, did I mention this?
he's
earlier?
already meant. Yeah, he's already come out, Stas. Yeah,
No,
I was
he
going to
hasn't.
say he's in Group B.
Have we got him down twice then, have we?
Oh, a bit of contentious here. What's going on?
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll draw it in and out, and then I'll sort that out afterwards.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Whose error is that?
Sounds like a fix to me. Anyway.
Wait,
How's that happened? Let us have a look at that later.
Let's progress. We'll do it in a minute.
Hey, listen, this was never going to go smooth. I had this worked out to a final tee, and I knew something like this was going to happen. I can't believe.
wait.
Go
So
on.
he was in Group B, was
Go
he?
on.
Group B,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Who was Team 5 in Group B?
Jane.
No, that was 6.
Right, I've written down here Nish, Jane,
Stas,
JC,
Lost Guy.
JC, the lost guy.
That
That lost guy,
Right.
JC, Jane, and
so
Nish.
it's that lost guy then.
Yeah, he's in Group B.
Right, I don't think I've got that.
Oh, right, well, then you must have mistakenly put that down then.
So that lost guy, what number was
22. So Group B is number 22 and not 26. It's an easy change, guys. Don't worry, it's just an easy change. So it's number 22, not 26 in Group B, and it's 26 in Group L.
So to clarify, who is in Group B with Daily Llama?
So that is...
No, it's not Stas, it's that lost guy.
It's that lost guy,
This is
yeah.
why, guys.
This is why we have it on paper.
Yeah.
Because hard copies are always the best.
And who else is in?
So just to clarify
I'll bring
then,
it
Group
back.
B, which is my group, is we've got Rafi, Ali, Nish, oh wait there. Yeah, so Jason's got it written down. I'll sort it all. I'll sort it all out. It's fine.
Instead of Rafa Ali, it's that lost guy.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of Rafa Ali giant killing, it's now that lost guy, also known as. Oh no, that lost guy is Rafa Ali. So who's the other guy then?
I've written down on my piece of paper here. So obviously Llama's the top
Right,
seed, and
I'm
then
gonna
it's
read
that
through
lost
mine.
guy, Nish Jane, Nish
JC,
Jane,
yeah,
and then
JC is not there, is he?
No,
No.
it's JC that's missing.
Yeah,
What
JC
number?
is number
Right.
28. Number 28 is missing. JC needs
Right.
to be instead of Rafa
Right.
Ali in Group B.
right. And
That's
who's Rafa Ali?
fine.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Rafa
That's
Ali
fine.
is-
That's that lost boy.
That's sorted. We're sorted now. We're sorted.
It's fine.
Right.
It's done. It's dusted.
Right.
I've got JC in the group alongside Jane.
There we go. Right.
Listen, all it was I just wanted to create a bit of tension and drama as we moved into Group M.
Okay.
Seb Blatter, honestly, he nearly fell over there. He thought he was going to get done again for
So-
Wigan.
To clarify, Daily Llama, it's Group L is Vince Chapman, James
Oh.
Bang, Manchester Res, and Stas.
That's correct.
Fantastic. Now we're back on track, everybody. Now on to Group M.
That is correct. So Group M has got another 4 balls to be drawn out of it as and when we're ready. And this is for Oz. This is Aussie Boy. So
Aussie Boy's
Aussie Boy. I don't know
right.
if Aussie Boy will be in here or not.
He's having a terrible year this year.
Number 33.
Well, his year's not going to get much better. He's just pulled out the Don
Oh no!
as the first person. Yeah, now the Don. He's been telling everyone in chat that he's going to win this.
Walad FC, Sheldon Payne, the Don.
Yeah. 3 more to go, Jace.
Number 34.
So number 34, this is Lino. So again, another person that I think Lino's fairly new to Discord.
Oh, Lino, the guy I'm chasing in the predictor game, right?
Alan Wellsteed,
Yes,
Bert from the garage.
Yeah. So we've got Aussie Boy's got he's got a couple of tough games ahead of him here.
Number
2 more to go.
40.
Number 40, Firetog.
Firetog, another name. Regular
Firetog.
member.
Yeah. So tasty groups all round here. And 1 more to go for Group M.
Number 53.
53. Infinity Leo. Now, this is definitely someone that's fairly new to Discord. I'm pretty comfortable with that.
Plavak
Leo.
That is him. So, Group M, Aussie Boys. Yep, Sheldon Payne, Alan Wellsteed, Mike Jones, and Plavak in there. Yep, another decent group getting put together. We're moving swiftly on due to all the disruption basically that happened in the last 10 minutes. That we'll just edit that little bit out there. We're moving on to Group N. It's not live or anything like that, is it? What can possibly go wrong?
Well, if anyone was under any illusion whether this was pre-recorded, you don't have to worry now.
Yeah, exactly. It was like it was planned. So yeah, Group N, FPL Aguero. Now I think I don't know. There's a lot of big names that still haven't came out of this yet, you know. So there's 4 more going to come out just now, though, when Jason's ready in Group N.
First name to be drawn in Group M is number 49.
Number 49, Litman.
Litman, right.
Litman is going in alongside FPL Aguero, which is good to see. Litman has been waiting, like most of us, he's been waiting a little while to get put in this.
Number 29.
And that is Matthew, YNWA.
Oh, you'll never walk alone, right? Yeah.
Is going in alongside FPL Aguero.
Number 21.
Number 21, Nasty Balls.
Oh, Nasty. He's doing very well this year.
He is. That's
regular contributor to the show as well.
That's now become quite a difficult group in there for old Aguero. 1 more to go though, Jason.
Number 20.
Number 20, Chab. Our very own Shaban. That's a decent group as well, isn't it? We're getting some decent groups put together this afternoon. So you've got FPL Aguero's inside, alongside Philippe, Matthew, Dan, and Shaban. So a host from the past and present, because he does join us every now and again.
It's Dan.
Our good mate Dan Bull.
He is here. I know he's in chat at the moment.
So
he should be still there.
If my memory serves me right, and bearing in mind I've been looking at this spreadsheet for a good 3 months now, I think there's some big names still to come out, and we've only got 2 groups left. So Davey P or Dan Bull's going to get an absolute belter. But who's it going to be? Jason's going to reveal it in the next 2 seconds. So Group O, I need 4 balls, please.
Hang on.
That's all right.
Number 54.
54, 20 titles. But is he actually going to get an Elite Champions League title? We shall see over the next coming months.
It's Group O, isn't it? Yeah.
So Group O, yeah. So Dan Bull's in there alongside Wayne Dean, also known as 20 titles. 3 more to go.
Number 16.
Number 16. The very own Triple F. Fantasy Football Focus.
Hey!
Is in alongside our very own Dan
Again,
Bull.
somebody joining us live right now.
Another exciting group slowly getting pieced together by Jason. And remember, we spoke about this before the stream. If you want to blame anyone for who you're getting put into, blame Jason. He's the one that's drawn out the balls. Right, who's next to join Dan?
Number 1.
Oh, number 1, that's got to be, Gabriel Ropp. I knew they were all lining up to join the groups. And there's our very own Gabriel Ropp getting dropped in there alongside Dan Bull. And to finish off Group 1, who is joining Dan?
Not many balls left in here now.
I hope there's only 5.
There's number 59.
Number 59, and this is David Owen. Now, David, I think, is, again, another one of our kind of newer members, so that's good. That's good seeing him getting put in there alongside a good old-timer like Dan. I say old-timer, I'm sitting there at 40-year-old and probably a good 6 years older than Dan. But he understands. So making up Dan's group then, we've got Wayne Dean, Graham Bonfield, Gabriel Ropp and David in at the end. Which, now, Jason, if this has been done correctly and planned correctly, you should only have 4 balls left.
I'm going to draw them now.
But you're going to draw them out because that's what we need to do.
Just to show that it's all above board.
Exactly. And this is Davy P's group, and I think he's going to have a couple of. I think he's got a couple of belters. So there's Vish going straight in there.
Right.
So Davy P's got Vish in his group.
Number 9.
Yep, Nasu. I knew Nasu was waiting to get put in there as well. That's another good one to go in alongside Davy P.
Number 14.
Yep, they're all small numbers. I could tell. This is Charlie. There he is.
There he is.
Mr. Chicken. What? Wouldn't have that been so funny if Charlie was the last person to get drawn out? He sat there all that time waiting to see where he's getting placed, and he's up against his very own Davy P. I can see the banter now getting written in the WhatsApp group.
Number 5.
And number 5 is FPL Mechanic. So it looks like Davy P got given a bit of a plum straw there. And that, my friends, even though we had a little bit of a sweat on, maybe halfway through the draw.
That's because you didn't know the difference between 28 and 26.
Yeah, listen, I'm Scottish. It's been a long day. Honestly, I had to travel from Villa Park yesterday to get myself all the way to Brussels to be in time for this draw this afternoon. So I apologise.
That's fine. I'm going to be adding 19 names into the 19 balls into the draw here.
Please, yeah. So number 1. So just whilst Jason's doing that, Steve-O, I want to come back to you in the studio just to see what you make of some of those groups, because some of those groups are absolute peaches in my opinion that have been put together. I mean,
let's just put it this way. Jason has pulled out the toughest group in the league in this whole group stage, full stop. You're talking players in our Cash Mini League are doing exceptionally well this year. Of course, we all know some of the popular names here. We've got our man Dylan. For Jason, he's second in our Cash Mini League. Marlon Moore, 11th. Keyboy is up there, right up there. And I saw him a second ago. Of course, he's disappeared now. But I know for a fact
I need the FPL gods. I need the FPL gods on my team.
Exactly, Jason. Somebody that seems to get everything right, and we all know what Aguero will do tonight. But that's a different story for a different day. Yeah, Keyboy is 20th. Jason is possibly in one of the toughest groups possible, I think.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. I'm just having a quick look here on the big screen that's getting shown up in Brussels, and honestly, everyone's absolutely buzzing about that group that Jason's pulled. Some folk were actually sniggering about it, but to be fair, you can understand why there's why the ruffles are going around that. that group's a tough group to get. Would you put them as favourites if you can come out of that group? Would you be classed as a favourite?
Yeah, I would, because even John Harris, the lowly John Harris, is in there as well, and we haven't even mentioned him. And my goodness, regular contributions to the show. And
I can't believe you've not even mentioned John Harris. He went and won our own mini league last year, and and he's not even been mentioned. Right, We're going to move swiftly on, folks. So this is where we're going to draw in our contributors. So as you can hopefully see on screen, yep, Jason's just moved it. So we've got 19 celebrities that are in there. When you look at some of the names on this, and Steve-O, you're a stats man, you like your history, you'll be aware that some of the history that goes alongside some of these names, yeah, these guys know how to play the game. There's some newer people in there as well, which is good to see, which I was really happy about. So the likes of Nathan Bacon, that's fairly new to the scenes in there, which is good to see. I think Block FPL's in chat as well. So
he is.
Oh, Block would be loving it if he gets drawn in that group of death alongside Jason. We've got a couple of new podcasts as well. I know a lot of our listeners at Elite like to listen to their podcasts. So there's an Irish couple in there that do a podcast called The Hangover Podcast.
And they're here, they're here live as well.
Brilliant. You've then got your the assist guys are in there. You've got Andy from Let's Talk FPL. You've got Az. You've got his counterpart in there. You've then got Jules Breach. Jules Breach from BT Sport. Yep. All the people were asking.
Unbelievable.
We managed to get them to join our Champions League, and what can I say? David Mundy's in there. Listen, there's far too much to go on. We've got some Twitter, popular people on Twitter. Lynn FPL is in there, and we've also got FPL Chef. If you thought Steve-O liked a bit of controversy on Twitter, FPL Chef kind of likes a little bit now and again, but he's a decent lad, and it's good to see that he's joined us in the Elite Champions League. Jason,
yes,
people are all waiting to see who they're getting drawn.
Let's move up to Group A.
Now, Group A, we're actually drawn 2. Now, listen, we can't separate. Do you know what I mean? If 2 people from, say, for example, FPL Cougars do end up in the same group, then to me, it is what it is. We're doing it as fair as what we can be. So, starting off with Group A, this is FPL Anderson's group. It's all went quiet here. I better go quiet as well, because everyone's waiting to see what first 2 celebs are getting drawn out into FPL Anderson's group.
First name, number 14.
Number 14. So this is one of the guys from Who Got the Assist. This is Nick Harris. Is joining FPL Anderson in Group A.
Number 18.
And that's Lynn FPL. So very popular on Twitter.
Yeah.
So that's good to see. So Lynn and Nick join FPL Anderson, Emmanuel, Paul, and FPL Penguin. So if you want, Jason, we can move straight into Group B if you wish. It's entirely up to you.
I've just drawn the ball. It's in my hand, but I'll tell you.
Oh, right. Okay.
Maybe
So
I'll
this
move
is.
it over to Group B. It's fine. Sorry, it's my man.
All right. Okay. If you wish, this is my group.
Yeah.
There's only one celeb going into it. Who is that one celeb going to be? Jason's going to tell us now.
Number 11.
And this is really good. I'm happy about this. So I've got Will from the Hangover podcast. I've been listening to their podcast actually for the last couple of months. Really, really enjoy it, and it's good that I've got one of the Irish guys alongside me in Group B. So Steve-O, Jason's going to draw out Group C.
Here we go.
So what celeb is going to join Steve-O?
Who's doing rubbish this year?
let's find out.
Number 19.
Oh, this is Luke. So this is Luke Williams from Fantasy Football Scout. He's also the other half of FPL Top Guns.
That's disabled, isn't it?
It is.
Yes.
That is. No. You're thinking of someone else, I think. So Super Puzzle Fighter's the team name that's going in there. Well done to you, Steve-O. That's who you've landed.
Williams.
So we're now moving on to Brett's group, and this is Group D.
Group D. Number 15.
Number 15. Ben Krellin.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I forgot about Ben. How can you forget about Ben? Thanks for reminding me, lads. But yeah, Ben Krellin also decided to join our league. I've just noticed on chat that there is no Will in the Hangover podcast. So one of the moderators is going to get fired after tonight's stream for giving me some bum information. I will tic-tac with whoever this mysterious person is. And anyway, they're in my group, so don't really matter.
According to FPL Boona, I was right. Luke is disabled on Twitter, apparently.
All right, good. It might just be the way that I've written it down. I don't know.
Okay, Group
Listen.
B.
So we're now going into Group E. So this is Phil Potter's group. There's 2 celebs to go in here. This is alongside Chelsea Flyer, Chris Eaton,
Chelsea
Tobias.
Flyer, yeah.
So there's 2 celebs going in.
Number 2.
So this is one of the FPL Cougars. This is Kieran.
Wow.
So this is Kieran that's going in there alongside our Phil. And it wouldn't be funny if Chris got drawn in here as well at the same time.
Number 1.
It is as well.
No, you're
There's
joking.
no way.
No, you're joking. There's no way.
Nah. I am putting them in as you draw them out. So somehow
What?
the FPL Cougars are playing head to head.
How is that
against
possible?
each other.
What's the
Jason, you
chances of that? Like,
I
what is
know,
the actual
exactly.
chances?
I know, exactly. I'm pretty sure Chris. I mean, if you've watched Chris and Kieran, they get on so great together when they're doing their live streams and stuff like that. We might have created a bit of rivalry now because they're head to head in the Champions League. Jason, this is the group of death. There's a celebrity that's going to be joining you in the group of death.
Andy, innit?
Who's it going to be? Is it going to be
Andy.
Let's Talk FPL? This should be hilarious. Steve-O, I'm on the edge of my seat. There's 200 of us watching this, and we're all on the edge of our seat.
Let me see who it is first. Oh, number 4.
That is He's got Az. He's went and got himself an Az.
An Az. I've pulled out an Az out of the hat. There we go.
So Az
Chaz
is there.
Phillips, Hasselhoff 11.
Yes, she is the other half of Top Gun's FF Scout regular. Wow.
And
Honestly.
he's doing very well this year. He's pulled it out the bag, and I think he's like in the top 100,000 now or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the buzz in Brussels was buzzing beforehand. Now Az has joined it. He's got a representative sat next to us here in Brussels. He's just walked out. He's just stormed out. He's not having it. He's not happy at all. So we're now moving on to Group G, Jason. This is Resi Desi's group. Which
Here we go,
celebrity is drawing into Group
Right.
G?
That is number 16.
Number 16, Jules Breach. There she
Jules
is.
Breach.
Jules Breach is joining Resi Desi in Group G.
Well,
So that
there we are,
is
Andy.
SM. Oh, come on now.
Breach for the stars.
SMZ. If he's in the chat and he's going to do any little video clips, just keep it neat and tidy. All right, you're in the same group as Jules Breach. She's got a bit of a reach on BT Sport, so just watch your little videos, pal. As long as
Andy wanted Darren Monday, but he's got sorry, David Monday. I've done a Jason there. He wanted David Monday, but he's got Jules Breach. Sorry about that, Andy.
Well. There's a bit of a difference. I'm not going to go into any kind of great details, but a bit of a difference between a Monday and a Breach. But hey, so we're moving into Group H. This is Gotham's group. Again, just one celebrity, please, Jason, to get drawn in alongside our friend Gotham, Simon Bellany.
See who Gotham's got.
Show me the money.
Here we go. Number 6.
Number 6. This is Block FPL.
Oh, Block FPL. Yeah.
Block FPL.
That's a tough group.
Yeah, that is now a tough group as well. Show Me the Manny is in there alongside Gotham, Statman, the best. Yeah, like a nice little group
Yeah,
shaping
Cy
up.
Bellamy doing very well this year, along with Show Me the Mane. They're doing excellently. So very tough group indeed. But you are pulling up the ranks.
So we're now moving on to Group I believe, which is Brew's group.
That's right. Yep.
And it's just one name, Jason, to get drawn into.
I shouldn't get comfortable, should I, when I sit down?
No, because give me 2 seconds, you'll be back up again.
Number 5.
This is FPL Nymphrya.
Oh,
she joins the party and she joins us alongside Brew, in there alongside Dereco, Adam France, Jake Bull. Another nice little group that was shaped together there.
Nims All-Stars.
Yeah, Nims All-Stars is in alongside Brew and the rest of the gang. Group Jai, which second seed is moving alongside Matt and Stein, FPL Defender and Tips in here, Steve-O. This is another group that's shaping up nicely.
Oh, number 7.
And David Munday also joins them.
Wow.
That is Group Jai. So David, I tell you, I feel I've said this about 1 million times on this stream, but yeah, that's another good group that's just been pieced together. FPL Buna, he's been waiting a while.
Yes.
Which celeb is going to join him in Group K? He's already been kicking his heels. He's tried text messaging me live here in Brussels. I'm not picking up the messages, Steve-O. I'm Jason, just pick the ball out. Who's he got?
Number 8.
He has got himself a Tom Cantell from Who Got the Assist.
Oh, wow.
Is who's joining our Buna in alongside Group K. So again, I tell you, Steve-O, the groups are forming nicely. It's as if we planned it. Buna's in there, Tom Cantell from Who Got the Assist, Harbour Boy, Patrick FC, Dasha and Ray Joyce. Yeah, nice little group. Now, with Group L, Jason, it's Vince Chapman's group. Now, Vince Chapman's in a group with 2 celebrities, so I need 2 balls drawn out from this group, please. James Bang's in there. We've got Manchester Reds in there, and Stas. Yes, Stas, Steve-O. He wasn't meant to be in my group. He's now in the proper group that he should have been in the first place. We sorted it all out. Everything's all good. Who is joining Vince, please?
Number 9.
So the first person to get drawn in is Let's Talk FPL. So we've got our very own Andrew, or Andy, as he likes to be called, from Let's Talk FPL, joins our very own Vince Champion. But he ain't just got one person, has he, Jason?
He hasn't.
He's got someone else, and who is that other person?
Well, let's go down one more. Number 10.
Number 10. Now, I was going to say names, but I think I've got them all back to front. But this is the second person from the Hangover podcast. Really good to see these two getting drawn into the groups. One of them's been drawn with an absolute dud called the Daily Llama. The other one's been stuck in there with Andy from Let's Talk FPL. I think my group's the more exciting group, though, to be honest. But that's just me. Right, we're now moving swiftly into Aussie Boys group. So this is Group M. Just one celeb getting drawn in here. We've got who have we got in this group? Sheldon, Alan.
It's Aussie Boys group.
Yeah, this is Aussie Boys. Fire Dogs in there.
Oh,
who's joining them?
Number 13.
Oh, unlucky for some, and it's Nathan Bacon.
Oh, Nathan Bacon.
Good to see Nathan Bacon. He's fairly new to the YouTube scene, but yeah, he's got a nice little twist on stuff, and it's good to see his videos. He has got a good sense of humour. That's the Welsh in him. He is Welsh. Steve-O, you're the one that's good with accents, but I'm pretty sure he's Welsh. Group N. So Jason, we're moving swiftly now into Group N. This is FPL Aguero's group. Yeah, he's got a couple of good people in alongside him. Nasty Balls, Shaban. What celebs he got? Number 12, he's got Kirk, So he's got Kurt from the FPL Wildcats joining him in there. And that'll liven FPL Aguero's group up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, well done there. We're now, hopefully, if we've done it right,
The last two.
There should only be 2 balls left.
There's only 2 balls left.
And this one is a ball for Dan Bull. Who is joining Dan Bull?
Let's just mix it on a bit, shall we?
Yeah, hey, let's just suspend it for a little bit more. When is it you start getting your ad revenue money through? Is that
Should we play an advert?
Who have we got?
Right.
Is he going to get friend of the show, Davey FPL? Let's find out.
Number 17.
He is!
Hey!
Steve called it! I tell you what, Jason, Steve does say he's very good at predictions. He's now just predicting the future now. So he joins Dan Bull.
Steve, if you're predicting the future, how many points am I going to get in the City game? Right, anyway, yeah.
So no, Dan Bull has got our very own Davey FPL alongside 20 titles, Triple F, Fantasy Football Focus, Gabriel Ropp and David, who is fairly new to Discord. Welcome to him. Davey P, last but no means least, Buna's favourite pal of the moment. Who is left? I've lost count, to be totally honest. So I'm glad someone's keeping a pin on things.
Can I get it out?
This should be FPL Chef though. This should be number 3. If it's done correctly, this should be number 3.
Number 3.
Oi! I can do something right. I'm so happy with myself. I'm actually ecstatic. I'm going to crack open the bubbly. The Elite Champions League draw for 2019-20 has now been drawn, and it's an absolute belting draw that's been put together. I need to thank Jason, who isn't over here in Brussels, but he's created a hell of a buzz in this room.
I don't get flown out to all these fancy places. You know, I'm just a monkey that operates the what is it called, the tombola thing.
Oh, honestly, what a difference a day makes. Villa Park yesterday, Brussels today. The full draw. We made a couple of errors, but hey, we got there in the end.
I didn't get the name of the final celeb, Llama.
FPL Chef.
FPL
Chef, right, okay, cool.
Yeah. A big Twitter celebrity.
It is.
I don't know. I know we've got a few moderators that are in chat just now, and I think the guys
we need to post the Google Docs sheet as well. It will be live on the website this evening, guys. If you want to go back to look through all of this, a link will be on the website later on this evening. In fact, probably within half an hour of the stream ending. But I will post, or Llama, if you could post the link for the viewing so people can view it at their will and their leisure. For those groups, again, massive thank you to everybody that's decided that they want to take part in it. We asked everybody in the FPL community on Twitter, in YouTube, and you know, some people were able to because they had spaces, they could join the league. Other people weren't, unfortunately, able to join. But I think as a whole, it's incredible bunch of people. It's an absolute privilege to have them on board with this, and I hope you have a lot of fun, guys. That's the main thing. And not to mention as well, James Bang is going to be donating £100 worth of Bitcoin to the winner, and who knows, you might have some more added to the prize pool closer to the time. But thank you ever so much. And massive thank you to Daily Llama, who I think he's born to do this commentary. Yeah, it comes very natural to you, Llama. Thank you ever so much for this.
No, it's fine. It's been an absolute pleasure. A couple of comments I just noticed there about how was it decided that two people got, some groups got 2 celebs in it and some groups only got 1. That was done by a virtual Wheel of Fortune that was done live in front of a couple of the moderators. So you can all be assured that this has all been done above board, and it's naturally now in front of us. And Jason, you have got an absolute stinking group.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. If it was
back for drawing that out,
I obviously had no control of who I had in my group. Let's be honest with you. No, it's brilliant. I look forward to the challenge. Let's say anyway.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be good. As you say, I'll post a link so that people can view everything live on the website. But Discord members, I've already created the thread for us in there. So I will post kind of regular and stuff like that all in there. So
Excellent.
Nothing over there for everyone to see.
And it's all great for you guys to be in the chat as well. It's great that you guys are looking forward to this and excited for this. And again, if you are new to this or not sure what this is, we will hopefully be doing this again next season. Don't see for any reason why we wouldn't do it again next season. So this is our first time doing it.
Sell another llama though.
Well, I have to get Llama on the payroll.
Nah, I'm only joking. Of course, it's been an absolute privilege, and I'm looking forward to see how it all pans out. I'm going to grab a wee quick drink of juice if that's all right.
No problem, buddy. No problem.
Like I've left my voice in this Brussels studio over here, so I'll hand it back to the studio stream. Let Steve-O and Jason take over things for a couple of minutes.
Well, James Bang said that he needs to be signed up to. Well, Tobias says you need to go to Sky Sports apparently, and they really loved your commentary, Llama. But we'll see you shortly.
I'll be back soon.
Hello, Dan. Hello, Davey P in the chat there. Hello, Shano. How you doing? One Rovers Vlogs. Anurag. FPL Boona there, the FPL Hangover podcast. Thank you ever so much again for being a part of this. Fantasy Football Focus also there in the chat. Nalpine, like we said earlier on, FPL Mechanic. Absolutely brilliant, guys. Just brilliant. I was so excited doing that draw. I can't really put it into words. So when Nama's back here, I'll explain it all. Basically, we're all in a league. And he's going to calculate the scores each week. So you can use the Google Sheet, guys, to find out who you are playing in all of the game weeks. There's going to be updated head-to-head games, so you'll see everything on the Google Sheet, guys. You enjoyed the draw, Daniel and Mar? I'm glad you enjoyed it. Are you looking forward to, just while we wait for Llama to come back, Steve-O, we obviously... I can't believe my luck has paid off, and my minus 16 has kind of just been like nullified, just because of Trent Alexander-Arnold deciding to have an absolute legendary performance against Leicester. I had visions of you punching the wall last night.
Nah. Like I mean, just go watch the members video.
I literally will. I will. That's what I'll put on before I watch the Man City game.
I felt last night, but let's just put it this way. I this is not a joke. I would have done a minus 20 about an hour ago, but I was 0.1 short of doing it, and I really would have done it. I really would have done it because I just don't care. I just don't give a.
It's because I pray to the FPL gods, my friend. I sacrificed my Pookie cutout. He's no longer there. He's gone. He's in the abyss. That's right. Wiz was laughing at me as well. I see you, Wiz. See you, Jace. He was saying, "I'm back. I could end up getting a green arrow if Aguero scores a hat trick tonight, and Sterling gets 3 assists." But
well, that's what I said it in my my video. I just said that it wouldn't surprise me if Aguero gets a goal, Sterling turns up and gets a goal and an assist, and Kevin De Bruyne. Well, everybody owns Kevin De Bruyne, so it doesn't really matter. But I just, like I said, an hour ago I was 0.1 short of doing a minus 20, and I legitimately would have done it, but I couldn't.
Oh,
so
maybe that saved you.
I don't know what to do in this cash mini league. It's just laughable, to be honest with you, and nothing seems to be going right. And I've got nothing to say on it. Really.
That's fair enough, mate. You said it already. That's fair enough. There's no way. We won't poke the angry bear tonight, chat. We will not poke the angry bear.
I'm not angry. It's just the fact that I've said everything about 2 hours ago, and I don't want to make myself. I'm bored already talking about it. But of course, it is Wolves versus Man City tonight, and to be honest with you, I won't be watching it. I'll be in bed, but it would, like I said, I think Wolves will edge this game 2-1. But my predictions this week have been absolutely atrocious, which I'm a bit disappointed in. I'm normally quite proud of mine, but if anybody does want to know what Juggernauts thought of this, of course, Juggernauts predicting very well for this particular game week. He thinks it's going to be a high-scoring game. He said 3-2 to Man City, so he's expecting a high-scoring.
Interesting. Is Llama back yet? I don't think he's back yet.
Let's hope that Jimenez gets me a couple of goals, because if not, then, well, like I said, 0.1 short of a -20, Jason. 0.1 short. That's all it was.
That
I've already done
to
a
me like
-4.
you were. That was would be rage transfers, or just very. Were they calculated transfers in your opinion?
No, just rage transfers. Just get rid of the waste of space that are in my team. I'm just sick to death of seeing certain players. They would have been upgrades, by the way. They would have been massive upgrades. I've already done a -4. I wasn't going to, but
what was the -20? Matt's asking in chat, if you don't mind us.
It was going to be a 3-5-2 formation, and off the top of my head, I brought in Trent Alexander-Arnold, Salah, Holgate, Grealish, and whatever striker. Greenwood, but I was 0.1 short of Greenwood.
Oh, okay.
Which you believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have done it. I really would have done that -20. My back three would have been Soyuncu, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Lundstrom/Holgate.
So I don't normally promote stuff on the channel, but I think for this moment in time, I am going to promote it. Oh, hang on. It's not the right one.
This?
Hang on. That's fine. I'm just going to say that for those of you who aren't a member, you might want to consider it, because obviously we're not allowed to swear in our general podcast for family-friendly reasons. But if you do want to see the dark side of Steve-O, or the real side, it's essentially the real side of Steve-O.
It's the real
just
side.
Just consider becoming a member, because it's
the playmaker one.
It's pretty damn entertaining, especially if you've had a bad week. It just kind of cheers you up a little bit.
As soon as the results and stuff came through yesterday, I thought, I can hear Steve-O from Scotland.
Well, interestingly enough, though, Llama, just to clarify, because I did reference you in the members only video, and again, just to reiterate the point, this is the playmaker only. I don't do it for the general membership. This is for the ones that are actually willing to pay that extra bit of. But it doesn't matter. But Llama, you've taken a -16.
Mate, I have done a Mourinho classic. My bus has been parked, and there will be no transfers happening for the next month.
What, after this -16?
Yeah, I've done it. It's done. It's dusted.
Are you willing to reveal, well, to myself, Jason, and the audience?
Are you willing to put it in the Discord screenshots teams, or in the Discord team? I mean, come on, the game week's like 16 hours away.
Right. Since it's yours, and since you asked nicely, give me 2 minutes, and I will post it in the
reveal
screenshots for you.
I'll happily tell you my -4. I originally got rid of Rico for Holgate, because Holgate's 2.2 more than Rico, and then I was thinking, right, Vertonghen, you're absolutely useless. You've done absolutely nothing for me. Tottenham are a bunch of clowns. They cannot keep a clean sheet. And I just thought, I've got to do this, and I just got in Trent Alexander-Arnold. I just brought him back. An absolute waste of a transfer, in the sense of I got rid of Trent Alexander-Arnold 2 weeks ago, and now I've had to bring him back in. Am I chasing points? Yeah, I am. Evidently, I am. But I'm sorry, but as FPL Penguin said in his video, why did you get rid of him? And simply put, it's because he blanked and he wasn't justifying his price. And then just
that
like
was
that,
absolutely spot on, by the way. I actually thought I was in the studio there with FPL Penguin for 2 seconds.
And I just thought, I've got to get him back in. And the money, I had the exact money to do it, and I've done it. And it's just extraordinary. And like I say, 0.1 short of a -20. I would have done it. I'd have loved it if I'd done it, but I couldn't do it. So frustrating. I would have got rid of Maddison and Dendonka for Salah and Grealish as well in that -20.
Is that your team, Lamo? Is that
what, the one that I've just posted in team screenshots?
Is that seriously your team?
Yeah.
Right, here we go. Let's have a look, shall we?
That's what I've -16 done.
And just to clarify this point, you're not doing any you're just leaving it.
This is pretty much now going to be left. To be honest, and this is no word of a lie, this was the team that I've been aiming to try and get to for weeks. And I was actually had it all planned out, as Vince Chapman will back me up because we've spoke about it countless times. This was a team that I was going to get myself up and running for about game week 25, and I thought, nah, I'm getting round the 800,000 mark. I ain't going to get anywhere if I don't make changes. So I thought, why wait until game week 25? I'm just going to pull the minus 16 now, leave it as a bust team. I feel, apart from my goalkeeper, I've got a playing bench. This isn't a final order of what's going to go out tomorrow. I'll obviously tweak the captaincy.
I wouldn't be playing Moutinho over Greenwood.
So, yeah, all right, Jace. So there's a couple of little tweaks here and there, but as I say, I'm quite happy with what I've done there.
And can you just clarify the actual transfers themselves, please?
No, because it's a bit embarrassing.
Just tell us, please. You've been great all evening. We can't be holding it there. Come on, tell us.
Right, so the first thing I done was I took Pulisic out for Grealish.
Huh?
Wait,
and you're wondering, where is Grealish?
Oh yeah. No, Llama.
I actually pressed the button when I didn't mean to press it.
Oh,
I was looking at it, I was staring at it, and I thought, I don't want Villa. I sat at Villa Park for 3 hours yesterday in the freezing rain. So I took Grealish back out, and I put Manny in.
Yeah, but who did you bring Grealish in originally for?
Pulisic.
Right, okay.
So then I took Grealish back out my team and put Manny in. I took Simpson out and upgraded him to Trent Alexander-Arnold. I took Richarlison out for Moutinho, Rashford out for Greenwood. And I'm quite happy to just stick with that now. So people will be like, what are you doing with Rashford? Rashford's this, that, and the next thing. Maybe so, but I'm trying to look for down the line here. I have to do something that's totally different, a little bit radical, a little bit off the ball. Just went for it.
Yeah, mate, can you tell us, be honest here, tell us why, because I've just lost faith now.
Just fed up. You called
agreed.
it. You called it on your stream. Basically, you were basically saying, "Oh well, Llama, might as well just put out your Cuban cigar, pour your daiquiri down the drain because your team is absolute rotten, the same as mine. You've put your captain armband on Vardy. Basically, Steve, you were just pointing at me through the monitor, saying, "What the hell are you playing at, Daily Lab?" And I thought, do you know what? He's actually got a point. I ain't going to get anywhere. What I've done was I mucked my wild card up in game week 5. I went from inside the top 10k and over the space of about 4 weeks plummeted my way all the way down to about 600,000. I thought, yeah, Steve, Steve, you're having a right good season, aren't you? I've not dropped over 1 million though, which is woohoo! Pop open the champagne. And I just thought, you know what? I've had enough. Yeah. Let's just go with
so
what
basically, you've ripped your team up just to get Alexander-Arnold in, essentially.
Alexander-Arnold, yeah, because like Steve was saying, it's a chasing points thing. It's not really. I was watching. If anyone watched that game last night,
he was like a man possessed, wasn't he?
Exactly. So
I was watching it. I was thinking, does Steve-O have Trent Alexander-Arnold in his team?
No, why did I brought in.
I was thinking, this minus 16 ain't as bad as I thought. but yeah. Vardy's going to get benched against West Ham, says One Rovers Vlogs as well.
Exactly, Charlie. Hence why Greenwood's first on my bench.
Oh, God. Lads, can someone check for me, please? And right, Abdul, in the chat, there will be a link to the Google spreadsheet. You can use the Google spreadsheet. Team number 37. What's team number 37? What group are they in?
I don't know.
Let's have a look.
I need to look at my sheet.
Yeah. So we'll just stop the stream for you, Abdul. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
To VAR or not to VAR?
To VR. To V.
Oh, God, talk amongst yourselves.
Just put a link in the description, Jason.
There you go. He's in Group G. Group G is in Resi Desi, Andy's team. There's like 20 groups here. Group G. You're along with Resi Desi, Andy, and also Jules Breach is in your group too, with Rakesh, Sam Norris, also known as SMZ, and Jordan W. Red Devils are us. There you go, Abdul.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll post the link just now.
Yeah.
And if the moderators that are in our stream are able to
put it into Discord as well, make it a pinned thing.
Yeah,
in
absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Nah, that's fine. I'll do that.
It's a
Not a
brilliant
problem.
idea. I mean, in all seriousness, Jason, so you keep saying that there's still a chance for you to catch the top 4, but and let's be honest here now, I just think it's gone for you. These hits, yeah, it may be paying off in our rivalry, which doesn't exist, but from a top 4 perspective, the cash, it's gone, mate. Be real, it's gone.
It's not over till the fat lady sings, mate. I'm gonna go down fighting.
Yeah, but surely
Let's just wait till March before we start to worry about it. It may be well done and dusted before March. I've seen these sort of leads be closed in the past. So I mean, it's like Jack Chater in the Torbe Elite. He's starting to pull away now. After like 2 or 3 game weeks, he's really pulled away. Those points, I mean, a couple of bad game weeks, that the points can be gained back. So if you're in the top 4 in the Cash Mini League, don't be too.
You're almost 100 points. You're 98 points behind Mr. Anderson.
That's fine.
I mean, you haven't got your. What chips have you got left? Remind me.
My bench
remind
boost.
Us.
My bench boost.
Yep, and that's it.
Yep.
Right. Yeah,
my captains need to be 100% every week. There we go. Need to be hitting the nail on the head every week, essentially.
I said to you last week when you revealed your -16 or whatever it was, I've got to say your team is looking fantastic. I'm not going to lie. On paper, it looks superb.
Well, Sultan Saeed there says, Jason, I brought back 100 points on some of the top. In 9 game weeks, he caught up 100 points.
Yeah, but hold a minute. Was that with chips or not? I mean, I don't know. But a question for you, though, Jason, from me is, poor Pogba, disappointed he didn't start last night?
Yes.
And what did you think of United last night?
Well, they were brilliant. I enjoyed watching United for about 65 minutes, and then it kind of went into like a bit of a bore fest where United were just passing it around and Newcastle had given up, and it was just a case of like just playing out of time, really. Paul Pogba came on and he just literally was just walking around the field like he's a quality player, and I think he's going to do good things in the coming weeks. But I was surprised to see him not start, and I'm looking forward to hopefully him getting a start at the weekend, all being well and good.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was when the flag went on Dele Alli this afternoon. I was like, yeah, good one.
What is that all about?
I think it's like a dead leg or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's a nothing injury then, to be honest with
you.
you.
But Mourinho was just trying to put the cat amongst the pigeons, though, because he was saying about Dele Alli having hamstring issues. He's hoping that it's not that, obviously.
My captain this week, Tobias, at the moment, the current game week is Sterling.
Again.
Pogba is a sure thing if McTominay is injured. Little Saints, I'm hopeful. There's a video of apparently Dele Alli walking through the tunnel holding his groin. He's posted it. It says Paulie in chat. Well, we ain't got long to make a decision.
I think, to be honest, he was just holding in a pee.
Right. Any final comments, guys, about tonight's stream? Has anyone got any questions?
I think it's all self-explanatory.
I think it is. The link is in chat, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, so I've just posted it in chat just now.
There you go. Let me just copy and paste that.
But I've also posted it in the general chat thread in Discord and pinned it. So any changes and stuff will be made inside there. You'll see the tabs along the bottom. The quickest thing is once you know what group you're in, just go straight to that tab and then you'll get all your updates. So a little bit of admin work for me to do on a weekly basis, but since it's for the elite crew, I'm more than happy.
Greenwood is definitely a shout against Burnley. Greenwood is quality player. He's gonna he's got the potential to be something really big. Like he's got a lot of qualities in a young player that I love to see, and I just hope that
cracking strike, by the way.
Wow, he could be something. He could be something very special. I'm not trying to big him up just because he's a United player. He could be playing for anyone in the league right now, and he just looks really good.
Just to let everybody know, you've just reminded me. There is a small possibility that I may do the match of the day challenge again.
Oh, okay. Oh, very good.
I'm not working. I'm not going to be doing the Saturday FPL live, but because I'm off on Sunday, which is very, very rare for me, I'm thinking I may do the match of the day challenge.
Can we? Well, if you do, that'd be amazing. But can we just put something? Can we just kind of work something out on stream so the guys listening and watching in can find out? So as we know, it's the Wolves to Man City game this evening. Tomorrow morning is the deadline, guys. Remember, tomorrow is the deadline. So
tell them they're right. Yeah,
right. So the early kickoff is the Brighton Bournemouth. Not really interested in that game unless you own of Ryan, of course, or Dunk. Newcastle Everton. We've got the games at 3:00. I'm just looking now. What is the chance of you? So you're thinking of doing an evening match of the day stream on the Saturday.
Yeah, so that'll be what, 10:30 maybe.
So if I did one earlier in the day, then you'll do one. Okay, cool. Okay, I will try to do a stream tomorrow, guys. Now, if I can't do one, I would love to do one during the Burnley Man United game. Actually, that's perfect for us, actually, because that's Burnley Man United. If not, don't worry, I will do a stream on Sunday, a Sunday FPL live. But I need to work out what's happening at home at the moment to see when I can stream.
Just to let everybody know as well, the reality is that Jason has got a family. I live on my own. End of discussion. And
thank you, Hangovers.
I'm more flexible to be doing more streams than Jason can. That's the reality. But that doesn't mean that we're stopping anything over the next, God knows. I mean, we're talking we got Saturday, Sunday, and then Wednesday for streams, and then we got possibly a Thursday night one when we do a preview during the Liverpool Sheffield United games. A chance for that. It's just going to be. Oh no, it's the FA Cup. So actually, next week, Thursday, Jason, is the last Premier League game for a week. And that's pretty cool. And all the games from BT Sport. So all we can say is that just keep posted.
Yeah, on Twitter and on our Instagram, and of course on our Discord. The majority of stuff is through one of those, or all three of those channels. But no, I think we've pretty much achieved what we wanted to achieve tonight. Absolutely. Again, massive thank you to Daily Lama. I can't keep thanking him enough for coming up with this amazing idea. Massive thank you to all of you guys that joined us in chat. Hope you have a good evening watching the City game, and look forward to tomorrow for more FPL. We're really blessed at the moment for FPL every day. And watch this space. I may do one tomorrow afternoon. Might do a stream tomorrow afternoon, just surmising what's happened in the games and previewing the Burnley Man United game. Cheers, guys. Excellent. Thank you.
Cheers, everybody.